Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is a little different. It also involves mushrooms. First off, I just want to say that we've come back to the spot we picked the good haul in the last video. We're back here. It's been about 10 days. There's more mushrooms than when we were first here. So that just goes to show that the picking absolutely makes no difference whatsoever. This day here is going to be one of our best yet. But in this video, it's not all about picking. It's going to have more to do with what do you do with the mushrooms when you get them home. So we're going to talk about cleaning. We're going to talk about dehydrating. We're going to talk about dry sauteing. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things in regards to chanterelle mushrooms and how to preserve them for the off season. I'm joined again here today with my friend Rob. We're having an absolutely amazing day. Another thing I should say is that the further we get out here in the season, you start to see a lot of different types of mushrooms. So we're really seeing a very diverse amount of mushrooms here today. Just another little bonus extra kind of tip for you new pickers. If you find a spot that has like a ton of mushrooms, sometimes it's a lot easier if you have 5-gallon buckets. You have one for your clean, ready to go home mushrooms. Sometimes it's better to just set your stuff down, take your second bucket, go around, just pick a whole bunch of mushrooms, put them in the bucket, come back, and you can sit down in the sun and enjoy your time just cleaning your mushrooms for the way home. So just to kind of give you guys a bit of an idea of how many mushrooms we actually leave behind, I've had a lot of people be like, oh, you take all the mushrooms while all these guys are staying. And there are lots of them. Today we are finding a much wider variety of mushrooms. I'm sitting here in a spot with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7 different types of mushrooms. I'm going to show you guys a few of them from the bucket when I get back to my main camp here. Alright, so that's like a couple minutes there. I'm just going to dump them all out. I found a bunch. I'm going to show you guys some of the different mushrooms that are out here. Next here we have a winter chanterelle. And that's one thing we've noticed here is that they've really popped since the last time we were here. They're also called yellowfoot. This is a pretty good example. I have never eaten one. They look kind of weird. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on yellowfoots? Leave it in the comments. This guy here is a really cool mushroom. It's what's known as an admiral bolete by its undersided sponginess, its purple color. They can quite easily be confused with a very similar mushroom known as the Zeller's bolete. People eat these things. I don't think it looks that good, but... Alright, we have another 2 mushrooms here I am completely unsure of. So I'm going to have a look at this guy. I don't know what it is. It's very strange looking. Struck me as unusual. So that one. And there's this other one here. It's actually red. That looks like something you would probably not want to eat. Well, it was a nice sunny day. All of a sudden it just let loose. Got dark in an instant. It's pouring rain. It's hailing! Dude, it's hailing! Alright, I'm getting snowed on now. So that just goes to show the season is limited. We got a lot of dead snags here, a lot of windfalls, we got a lot of old dead trees here, kind of in a dangerous spot. We're going to start heading back here. It's getting pretty ugly out here. Just went from 0 to 100 in 2.2. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we survived that rainstorm. It was pretty nasty out there. We're back at the house now. Normally I would do this type of thing outside, but we're in the what's called an atmospheric river weather system right now. It's just absolutely pouring rain. We're looking at about 100 to 200 milliliters of rain, which is a lot. So today we're going to be demonstrating these techniques indoors. The first thing is we've gotten home from the field. I've given the mushrooms a chance to sort of dry out a little bit in a paper bag overnight. So the next thing we really want to do is make sure we fully clean these mushrooms. I mean, they don't have to be perfect. Let's get the pine needles off at least. We can also kind of sort through them and kind of grade what type of mushrooms we have. Because we're going to be talking in this video about 3 methods of preservation. The first is going to be dry saute. The second method is going to be dehydration. And the third method we're going to look at is pickling, which is actually new to me, but we're going to give it a go. It looks fairly straightforward. So as I'm going through and cleaning these mushrooms, I'm doing a number of things. First off, I am double checking, or actually probably triple checking by this point, that these are actually chanterelles. There's not really a whole lot of lookalikes in the field, but it's definitely a good idea to just make sure that you've, at least double checked your mushrooms. So the tools I typically use at this stage, I got a paintbrush. It's never had paint on it, obviously. And I just have my trusty knife. So as I'm cleaning these guys, I'm just going to grab the brush, grab the mushroom, and just kind of get those pine needles off. This, once again, really boils down to how well you clean them in the field. You could be stuck here literally for hours doing this if you get a good haul. We're looking for mold on the underside of the mushroom. This one here has seen better days, but it's still definitely edible. It's still a perfectly good mushroom. And then the next thing we're going to check for is rot in the stem or any sort of bug damage. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut just a small section of the stipe. We're going to look at the type of quality we have here. So this is still white. It's not super spongy, and there's no holes, so that's a good mushroom. Once I've cleaned this mushroom, established there's no mold, no rot, I'm going to throw it in one of 2 boxes. I have my really nice fancy looking mushrooms, and then I have my whatever meh mushrooms. So this one's going to go in the meh mushroom box. Another thing I should point out is sometimes when you're harvesting mushrooms, you'll find some strange looking ones. This example right here, also here. This is a condition what's known as rose comb. And you can see that the mushroom has a bunch of kind of weird looking growths on it. There's some speculation as to why it occurs. A lot of people believe that it is caused by petroleum products seeped into the soil. I, for one, do not believe that theory whatsoever. I've been on islands accessible by float plane in the middle of nowhere that have had very little logging activity, if not none. No roads, no nothing, and I've found them all over the place. Another thing to note, they're perfectly fine to eat. You're not going to turn into a mutant or end up at the hospital or anything like that, so good to know. Another quick thing I forgot to mention, when I'm done actually cutting up all these mushrooms and getting rid of the bad pieces, the bad mushrooms, I actually use them in my composter and I use them as fertilizer. So it's a really good way to, also support your garden if you're a gardener, because that's something we also like around here. Step number 1, we're going to heat up a frying pan to like medium-high, somewhere in that range. Cast iron works really good, but today I'm just using a traditional pan. I've already preheated the pan, got my mushrooms already cut up. So first thing I do is going to toss these guys in there. Should we start making a nice sizzle? So basically what we're doing here in this process is we're going to draw all the water out of these mushrooms. And you'll notice that we're not putting any seasonings, no butter, nothing. The only thing we're going to add at this step is a little bit of salt. What that salt will do is help to fully extract the moisture from the mushroom. Stir that up a little bit. You're going to be really surprised here at just how much water comes out of these mushrooms. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably somewhere in the vicinity of 60 to 70% of their weight is water. So you can see here after just like less than a few minutes, not even a minute or two, there's a huge pool of water in there. So we've got to get all that off. We've got to boil all that water off. All right, that took maybe 5 minutes. You can see here that most of the water's gone. All right, so step number 2, we're going to add some butter. Typically, I've actually made a mixture here with has butter and garlic in it already. Just makes the process a little easier and helps everything to cook a little more evenly. So we're going to throw in a fair bit of butter. And the reason why we're throwing in butter is because when we're finished cooking these mushrooms, we're going to vacuum seal them. The butter really, really helps to fight against freezer burn. So it definitely allows the mushrooms to live a lot longer in the freezer. Oh, it's starting to smell good already. All right, so we're going to get that butter mixed up into there. I can turn the heat down a little bit at this point. Now we're going to hit it with a little bit more salt. Oh. Some fresh ground pepper. Some homegrown fresh thyme sprigs. Well, not fresh, they've been dried, but... Oh, it smells delicious. You can also add an onion too if you want. I just actually forgot to cut some up. I typically would add onion. So at this stage, once you have everything seasoned, the butter's distributed quite evenly. What we're going to want to do is just let these guys cook to a golden brown, stirring them quite frequently. I like mine a little bit crispy. These are probably done for the most people out there watching this, but I like to prefer them cooked a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call these done. Let's see if my camera will autofocus here. I got that nice golden brown. They smell just absolutely delicious. Cooked just the way that I like them. This is my preferred method for preservation. You get about a year of shelf life in the freezer, as long as you vacuum seal it properly. So let's move on to that now. These mushrooms are done. All right, so we got the mushrooms off the fire, off the stove. Another good little trick here that's going to really help you with the vacuum sealing process is you don't want to throw these in the bag right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to leave them in this bowl. We're going to put them in the freezer or even the fridge for 15 to 20 minutes. And what it's going to do is it's going to cool it down and really help that vacuum sealer get an excellent seal. So let's put these in the fridge. So you basically end up with a product that looks something like this. So you can basically put these in the freezer. You could have a whole bunch of them. I've done them in portion size. I'm a single guy. I live by myself. So for me, this is the perfect size. If I'm having steak dinner or anything, I just want some mushrooms, it's super easy to just pull out a bag. And as long as you have food grade bags, what you can actually do is boil this in water on your stove. So you're not losing any of the flavor in this bag. This is definitely my preferred method of preserving chanterelles. All right, so method number 2. This is probably my least preferred method, dehydrating. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to cut the mushrooms into chunks, throw them in your dehydrator for a certain amount of time. I find the problem with this is that they lose a lot of flavor. But let's go ahead, let's show you that process. All right, I'm just doing a small batch just to kind of demonstrate the process. I've already done a lot of these this year. So essentially what I've done is I've cut the mushrooms up into small chunks. What's important here is that you want to try to make sure they're of a uniform size. So once you have, all your racks, whatever your dehydrator will hold, go ahead and throw it in the dehydrator. So you're going to want a temperature on your dehydrator from around 125 to 135 Fahrenheit. You're going to leave these guys in there for anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. When you pull them out to test them, what you want is to be able to snap the mushroom. So if it snaps in half, you're at the right point. And that's why it's important to cut them uniform, because you want them to dry at the same rate. Let's go ahead and fire these guys into the dehydrator. All right, so after about 8 hours in the dehydrator, we're left with this finished product. One thing I noticed right away is they're less visually appealing. All right, so at this point, I'm going to throw all these into a glass jar. I'm not sure how important, probably a good lid, airtight's always better. Another little trick, if you want, you can throw in one of those, those little packages that come in dehydrated things that just kind of absorb any resident moisture, lingering moisture. These store for about a year. When it's time to actually eat these mushrooms, what we're going to do is we're going to soak them in water. We're just going to let them sit for probably about an hour, and they'll sort of regain some of their old consistency. But I find, once again, this process, you lose a significant amount of flavor. So there you have it, dehydration of chanterelle mushrooms. All right, so now we're going to talk about method 3. This is something I've never tried. So I'm interested. I've spent a bit of time online doing some research. It's a little bit of a confusing topic. There's essentially 2 different ways of pickling. The first way is basically just putting them in a jar. That's what we're going to try today. I've read that they're good for about 2 months, give or take. Don't quote me on that. And then there's the more advanced method, which of course would be pressure canning or pressure cooking. I don't have the equipment to do that. I'm sure my mom does or someone in my family, but that's not something I can do today. So we're going to try a recipe that I found. This recipe is going to require smaller, fresh, young, button-type chanterelles. So I've just selected a small batch here. I don't want to waste a bunch of mushrooms on something I've never done. The reason why we want to use these smaller chanterelles is because they'll just pickle more uniformly. All right, so I've added the mushrooms to the pot. We're going to add in a bit of seasonings here. All right, so once again, whole mushrooms, first ingredient, we're going to put in a bit of salt. All right, so in terms of seasoning, we're going to use a little bit of chili powder. This is some stuff that we've actually produced ourselves from our garden. I know it's in a regular spice container, but we repurpose things around here. Once again, a little bit of fresh thyme as well. This recipe I found actually calls for juniper berries. I don't have any of those, so I'm just going to kind of forego that. Recipes are how you make them. I mean, you can substitute anything you want, I think. All right, so now that we got this seasoned, we're gonna make the base, which basically consists of a 1-to-1 part ratio of vinegar to water. A lot of people will use a little bit of sugar as well. I'm gonna try that method today. I've never done this, so this is all new to me. All right, so I went in the pantry and I grabbed some vinegar. I've never seen this before. I have no idea what it is. It's definitely not the right kind of vinegar. It actually says cleaning vinegar, so we're not gonna use that one. Now we're gonna use some traditional vinegar. Maybe the recipe would be better with apple cider vinegar or something along those lines. Once again, I'm not exactly sure. So I've created the kind of base with the vinegar and the water. It's got a pretty interesting smell to it. So once again, 1-to-1 ratio. So a cup of vinegar, a cup of water, depending on the batch you're making. We're gonna go ahead now. We're gonna throw this on the stove and we're gonna simmer it till the mushrooms start to wilt. So as I'm just letting things come to a boil here, I've found a canning jar. Not sure how important it is for it to be quite clean, but I've gone ahead and I've just cleaned it super good just in case. All right, so I've let these guys boil for a little while. I'm gonna take a strainer now. I'm gonna strain out the mushrooms. I'm gonna dump them into the jar. Try to dump them into the jar. Well, they look pretty good actually. One thing I've noticed is they definitely shrunk. They're a lot smaller than when I first put them in. Never made a video in the kitchen before, so I'm trying to get used to all this. All right, so like I said, I just did a small batch. This is totally experimental. Typically, you would fill this jar to the top. So now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pour the water back into the jar and just kind of make sure that all the mushrooms are submerged. Ideally, you'd wanna have it pretty close to the top of the full can of mushrooms. All right, so I let these guys cool down. Put a proper lid on the jar. I'm gonna try one right now. I've selected one of the mushrooms. I'm a little nervous, so I'm gonna give it a try though. It's definitely pickly. It's actually really not that bad. I think with a little bit of refinement, this could actually be a good method of doing this. I just don't have the proper equipment. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea. Thank you guys for sticking around till the end of the video. If you guys like this type of content, make sure to smash the subscribe button, give the video a like, and leave a comment. For those of you that are new to the channel, I don't typically do cooking videos. Tons more on my channel. I have almost 50 videos, everything from exploring lost gold mines to hiking on remote islands. There's all kinds of stuff there. So if anything outdoors, if you like it, go ahead and check out the channel. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the next one.